Michael, very good afternoon to you. And we have really seen a very deliberate ramping up of the aerial bombardment by Russia in the last couple of weeks, month or so.
Yeah, we've seen new records set almost every attack. So it went up to 300 odd drones and missiles a night, then 400, 500. The biggest of the war so far was over a week ago, was at 750. Last night it seems to have been about 650. The vast majority are drones. They're usually about a dozen to 20 missiles that follow in behind it. And the point about the drones is that they exhaust a lot of the ammunition that the Ukrainians have got. Not all of the drones have got warheads, but if they throw enough drones at Ukraine, Ukraine has to do something about them. And even though they're bringing down, three-quarters of them, sometimes more than three-quarters, that's pretty good. But a year ago, they were bringing down 93, 94% of them. So they're...
And is that old adage of, effectively Russia only needs to get lucky a couple of times, obviously?
Exactly. I mean, and any defensive system can be overwhelmed. In principle, every defence can be overwhelmed with aerial attack if you throw enough at it. And that's what the Russians are aiming to do. And last night, they attacked different areas of Ukraine. So they attacked Kiev, as they always do, but Kharkiv, it's the second city, and that's really up on the border. And they went a long way west as well, as far as Chernihiv, which is in Bukovina there, down in the southwest. And that's right up on the border with Moldova and Romania, of course, which is very, very close to at least one NATO member. And this is
a reminder, by the way, of, Ukraine's a big country.
Oh, it's next to Russia itself, it's the biggest single landmass in Europe. It's the biggest country in Europe, geographically, apart from Russia
You can see that reach of Russia.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the Russians are indicating that they'll go for absolutely anything, both military. I mean, some of these targets are military, but a lot of civilian targets as well. And when they try to attack the cities, they're simply trying to make sure that everybody has to spend the night in the shelters, in the metro stations. In the case of Kiev, it gives them a miserable night, and it's bringing the reality of war home to the Ukrainian public. And of course, their view is that they will just make this as miserable as possible. They say that they're going to go up to 1,000 a night, 1,000 drones and missiles a night, and they aim to hit that target for symbolic reasons, to demonstrate to the Ukrainians and the rest of the world that they will do whatever it takes to subdue Ukraine.
Michael, what I don't understand here is that, this war's been going on for 3 and a bit years now.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk to Ukrainians, it's been going on for more than a decade.
Yep.
And we were told in the early couple of months that Russia was already getting through the stockpile of some Soviet weapons because it was running short. And yet, where are they getting these weapons from? I know there's a war footing now in Russia in terms of its economy and defence procurement, but how is it managing to sustain all these weapons?
Well, 4 sources. One, their own domestic production. As you say, they've gone to a war economy, so they're now spending about 40% of all of their governmental money on defence. And they've ramped that right up, and they've had a sort of boost from that, which is now tapering off. So they're at a plateau, but that has undoubtedly increased domestic production. That's one source. Second source is Iran. They've got a lot of drones from Iran, particularly the Shahid 136 drone, which is the model of all of the drones they're using now. That's a second source. Third source is North Korea. They've got shells. I mean, literally, they've had millions of shells, 152mm shells from North Korea, and drones and ballistic missiles. That's the third source. And the fourth source is China, who claim that they are not supplying weapons, but believe me, they are. They're supplying components for weapons. They're supplying aero engines for the drones themselves. This Chinese-German engine, which is produced in China for perfectly legal reasons, they're now supplying them. We know they're supplying them into these Jiran 2 drones, which are being produced in Tatarstan at 6,000 a month. So the Chinese, whatever the Chinese say is not true. They're ramping up their help to Ukraine.
But isn't it fascinating? And we haven't got much time, but I could talk to you all day. But isn't it fascinating? You've got Russia now relying on North Korea,
exactly,
China, Iran. This is a country also, we have to remember, that it's not isolated, but it is having to rely on other countries to make this work.
Yeah, the Russians could not possibly maintain the war at this tempo without outside help, quite a lot of outside help. And that we marked on the map there, Alabuga. That's the factory in Tatarstan, which is making 6,000 drones a month, with help from the North Koreans, with help from the Chinese, on the basis of a design originally supplied by the Iranians. They couldn't have done that on their own, but that's what they're doing now.
OK, Michael, thank you very much indeed. Always fascinating insight. Thank you.